Call my nuts Amy the way they rose. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Games Kids. Today, and only today, we are here to talk about the redemption arc of Amy Rose, a character that's been very beloved, you know, in the Sonic franchise forever, right? She's had such like a weird rocky past, I feel like, for the last decade especially. You know, she's not been very consistent, but recent medias of the character have just been showing her character a lot more, and I'm so happy about it. So I sort of wanted to talk about, you know, what happened with this character, what's going on with them, and how I really feel like they're about to, you know, frontline as one of the tops of the series again. Also, we recently hit 40K. I really appreciate that. Subscribe to your boy and continue to support the content for more crazy videos like this. Amy obviously famous for debuting in Sonic CD, sort of as like, you know, a cute love interest to Sonic. You know, she gets kidnapped by Metal Sonic. You see her in a few of the cutscenes, but she's not really, you know, the Amy we know and love. She starts to appear in some smaller games like Sonic Drift and stuff, but it isn't until Adventure era where Amy Rose's character starts to shine, right? We start to see her playable in Adventure 1, which is a big deal, you know, because that was a big 3D game. We saw her playable in Sonic Advance series. She wasn't playable in Adventure 2, which I thought was a weird choice, but I guess, you know, they wanted to tone down how many characters you could play as. And back in the day, right, she was very, I don't know how to explain it, like, I kind of like how she was in Adventure, where she was, you know, lovey-dovey over Sonic, but sometimes it definitely felt like a bit too much. In fact, I felt like during that era of the early 2000s, the best spot for Amy was Sonic X. I feel like Sonic X was the perfect mix of Amy being, you know, super cutesy, lovey with Sonic, but also very spunky, very aggressive. You know, that's how I sort of grew up knowing that character. During the 2000s era, it felt like the last time Amy was really notable was during Sonic and the Black Knight, when she played, you know, one of the queens in there, and, you know, she was the ruler of the lake, and she had a really cool dialogue in there. That's what I felt like it was the last time she was really a character. What ended up happening later, and I would say this was during around the Boost era, right? The Boost era games, they sort of just started backseating Amy a lot more, you know? She takes a backseat in 06 a lot more. She takes a massive backseat in Sonic Unleashed. She's not even in Sonic Colors. She's hella backseated in Lost World as just like, you know, her looking on an iPad. She backseats in Gens as just one of the random characters. She backseats in Forces. It's like she was very much reduced backwards. You know, it just felt like Amy was just there and she wasn't really doing much, you know? And then Sonic Boom happens, the animated series, and I feel like Sonic Boom ended up giving her life again, right? They sort of rebranded her character as, yeah, she likes Sonic, but it's much less apparent, and she ends up just being more of like, you know, sassy, do-it-herself kind of girl, which, you know, cool. I like that, and I like how she was in Boom. But again, there's something missing about her, and I think what it was is the over-the-top cheery energy, right? Which I liked back in the Sonic X days. But alas, now we have today, which is the most fun I feel like we are about to have with this character, right? And let's start obviously with the games, right? When it comes to the games, right? Sonic Frontiers, right? With Sonic Frontiers, we had the return of Amy as one of the mainstays. But Amy was a little weird in that game, right? Because they wanted to write her in a little better, right? But she ends up, you know, sounding and acting a bit too much like, you know, as a mom, right? Like, instead of being, you know, very lovey or very spunky or very aggressive by the fact, you know, I feel like that Amy is the type of character when she's captured in that thing, she should be using her Pico hammer to beat the shit out of that box to get out of it. You know, I want her to be a little wild. So, but in Sonic Frontiers, it just feels like she's kind of like depressed. You know, she's just talking about how, like, yeah, I've been stuck here. Look at the nature of the world. Look at this. One day I want to travel. And I like the idea of Amy, you know, starting to understand, you know, life's values a bit more and wanting to protect people and stuff like that. But she has like no energy, which is weird. And I hope the story DLC that's coming up later for Frontiers is able to give her more, you know, bring back more of her hype and joy that, you know, I know she has, right? But that maybe she wasn't feeling because she was captured and stuff. I don't really know, but I do hope that they fix that. One of the best modern interpretations of Amy that we've seen recently is in the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. This to me was everything I want out of Amy's character. It had a perfect mix of, you know, her being fun and in the spotlight, right? It was her birthday party, right? Where you had the high energy, you had her, you know, actually having moments with different characters, like even Shadow or Tails or whoever. You had her being wild, you had her romantic side with Sonic. Like, you had just a lot of a mix of her character personality in that game, and I thought just everything they did with that was amazing, you know, from like fit to the scenarios and everything. Like, to me, that was peak Amy, and the reason that's peak Amy is because that game was, you know, done by a lot of people that care about IDW especially. And another scenario I'd like to talk about, and thing I'd like to talk about, is IDW. Obviously, if you guys have read on that, these are the Sonic comics. I'm not gonna get too into it, you know, because there's a bunch of volumes and stuff, but Amy's character in that is, again, another example of how to handle it. You know, you get fighting Amy, feisty Amy, you get military leader Amy in the beginning of it, you know, after what happened in Sonic Forces, and she's interesting there. But again, you're getting team-ups, you're getting cool moments. Like, it's like Amy at the forefront of a fight and the forefront of just fun is cool. And also, you know, she has a friendship with Tangle and Whisper and the others. Like, it's like there's a lot of cool scenarios they put Amy in, and they keep her in the forefront in IDW, which I really, really appreciate. And of course, we gotta give some love to classic old school Amy, which they are doing with Sonic Origins Plus. I mean, if you guys saw Sonic Origins, and you know, when it first came out last year, it was very clear Amy was supposed to be playable. I mean, she's in almost every cutscene, she's in the forefront of the marketing, and finally, a year later in Origins Plus, she is finally playable, and now we can successfully gaslight people into believing she was always there, because her sprite looks fantastic, she's got cool little animations in there, and you know, we recently saw and found out that she does have her own super form. So really cool to see Amy get some classic love, and of course, she is going to be playable in Sonic Superstars, which is the new 2D game, and I love that. Not only that do I love that, but I love that, you know, they keep her classic fit for classic Amy, you know, the green with the orange little dress, which is really cool. And obviously, you can even sign up to the newsletter to get her modern look. So just a lot of love for Amy, even on the classic side, which, like, it was always weird that she wasn't like playable in those games or ever added. You know, it's crazy it took this long, but I'm glad we are finally here. And of course, we have Sonic Prime, right, where we have, you know, different dimensions of Amy, and a lot of Amy's are at the forefront of those episodes. We have, you know, the robot Amy that takes place in what's called New York City or whatever it's called, and you know, she's a very menacing version of Amy, right? We also have the, what's the other one that's in there that was really important? It was the Jungle Amy, who has a big, you know, whole set of episodes in the jungle, you know, where it's obviously not the same Amy, but it's the idea that she's being in the forefront of a lot of these episodes. We don't get too much of regular Amy because a lot of the regular versions of those characters, you know, are lost to different dimensions, but it's cool. Again, another place where Amy is thriving and doing super well. Pirate World Amy is kind of like whatever, but again, the ones that matter most, again, the robot one, which is super interesting, where she's all like fucked up and kind of crazy, and Jungle Amy are really cool highlights and standouts. And now to get into some hope territory, obviously we got Sonic Movie 3 coming up in the future, and I am hoping we get Amy. It feels like, you know, 3 movies in, I feel like it's time for them to add, you know, a female member, you know, to the Hedgehog gang, right? And I feel like with Sonic Adventure 2 especially, Amy is definitely a big part of that story. Not like a crazy big part, but like, you know, she has interactions with Shadow. You know, you have that mission where Tails saves her, you know, and you have when she saves Sonic, you know, from Prison Island or whatever island they're on. It's not Prison Island, you know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of moments with Amy in Sonic Adventure 2, and I feel like in general, just she would bring a different kind of energy. I don't know what kind of angle they'd go with her in that world or how they'd, you know, bring her in, but I just feel like Amy's time to shine in live action is coming, and I hope they do it well, because again, I feel like it's important, you know, to have a female character join the gang, and I also feel like it would be awesome to see her in live action as well. But yeah, like, I am all in on just the return of Amy's character. You know, I think it is so cool to see her at the forefront in so many different media versions of Sonic, especially when she took such a backseat. It's cool to have her in the forefront, because I always saw Amy as, you know, one of the gang, right? One of the main gang members, you know? So when we went to the boost area, you know, in the 2010s, and she sort of started backseating, it kind of was like, oh, like, come on now, give Amy the spotlight, let her in. And of course, I really do hope she does get a super proper form, you know, because obviously there's a little bit of that tease in Origins, but I wanted to get an actual super form. I doubt it's gonna happen because it feels like they only want to keep that locked to Sonic, but I do want more of Amy. I want more playable Amy, and I'm very curious to see how she's gonna play in the Frontiers DLC, as well as her story. And I hope, you know, just give us more Amy. I know she's always in the spin-offs and everything, but very happy to see Amy Rose living living her best life and back in the spotlight. Guys, let me know what is your favorite current interpretation of Amy, and of course, I'll see you all next time. Peace out.